So I was watching the Critical Role one-shot of the Darrington Brigade last night, and there was a few cool characters. Everyone in Critical Role got to make new characters, and it inspired me to go through some of my old D&D stuff and rework it. The more and more I thought about it, the coolest race would be Avariel. This is also a video on my Sorcerer Ranger class, or SorceRanger. I know they're not a core race, but they are here, so I wanted to do a video about them. This is something that I've been thinking of for some time, is a Sorcerer/Ranger class, and now I finally get to put that into action. It fits really well with an Avariel. Now let's go through and see what type of character we can create. They're interesting. They are winged elves. That's right, because elves aren't cool enough, you need winged elves. They're more delicate, and they have hollow bones and pale skin, and their wings are often, they can be white, but they can also be black, brown, or speckled. And also apparently they dye their wingtips, that's pretty cool. Eyes are slightly larger than normal, and they have really bright colored eyes. And the hair is usually silver or black. They're said to have the most beautiful voices of all the elves, and their songs are greatly sought after by bards. And they have war chiefs and societies that are governed around basically not necessarily raiding, but ranged sort of advanced scouts knowing where trouble is and being able to get there immediately. And they view surrender to be dishonorable. They also have lots of peaceful people, and if their songs are well known, you know they have lots of artists and intellectuals and diplomats. Avariels are very interesting. They were among the very first elves to go to Faerun. They never chose a place to settle down and build a city. They moved from place to place, doing good, defeating monsters, defeating evil, and they were basically the guardians of good. They did so much good that they were gifted wings. And they basically passed into myth and legend. This was also inspired a while ago by Shadiversity. He came up with a video on war darts.
And welcome back to underappreciated historical weapons, war darts, also known as war javelin.
So you can go check out his video, but this inspired me to do a ranged spear thrower. A good spell that will work really great with this is catapult/enlarge reduce. So if you can enlarge something or you reduce it, you bring it up to a very tall height, then you drop it, and then you get rid of the spell, and then a war dart can suddenly turn into a giant spear. The other inspiration was how ridiculous. They drop a bunch of things from a tall height and they see how much damage it does. And when you see what happens, it's pretty incredible. Alright, so this is what happens when you drop something from an extremely high height. Watch this.
3, 2, 1, go! Oh yes, hit him middle!
So now we have to wait a little bit to see it. Let's watch how much power. Ooh, that was terrifying. So imagine being a Avariel, and you just have a few... So imagine being in Avariel, you have a few weighted darts, like actual small little spikes, and then you let go of them, you enlarge them, and you just drop them on people. So you just enlarge a rock and drop it from height. If you watch this channel, you'll realize how destructive gravity is. So this class is built to take advantage of dropping things from height, /enlarging, reducing, catapulting. You can animate objects, telekinesis to make things levitate. This is a really interesting one. And now we will move on to SorceRanger. That's right, it's my class SorceRanger. It takes the best from the Sorcerer and from the Ranger class. This is the Storm Sorcerer and the Gloom Stalker Ranger. So you're really good at hiding in the dark, but also really good at flying around and keeping out of people's range. A really good mix of close up and far away, keeping your mind safe and keeping your body safe. Starting with the cantrips, Create Bonfire is a wonderful spell because it simply says creates a bonfire, but it doesn't state it's a magical flame. Cantrip 2, Control Flames, only lets you control non-magical flames. So Create Bonfire plus Control Flames is really good. Gust can push things away from you. Lightning Lure can pull them. Mold Earth and Shape Water, super useful. Most of the feats that I've chosen give bonus spells. There are 2 bonus cantrips here from Magic Initiate. Mage Hand, and Prestidigitation. There's also a bonus attack roll cantrip from the Spell Sniper feat, and I chose Shocking Grasp. The Naturalist feat gives Druidcraft. Catapults is great. Ice Knife is good for the theme. I'm going for an ice theme with this. There's a bonus first level spell from Magic Initiate, Featherfall, and Naturalist gives Detect Poison and Disease. Dragon's Breath, I'd also use the Ice Dragon's Breath. Enlarge/Reduce is wonderful if you can drop things from height or for stealing things. If you combine it with Animate Objects, it's really fun. Levitate is great. So I'm going for flying and for ice. So Catapult, Ice Knife, Dragon's Breath, Levitate, Sleet Storm, Fly. Sleet Storm is really good for creating an area that causes people to fall down in. It causes them, they have to make checks or else they fall over within this sort of storm area. Dimension Door is great for teleportation, but I'm using that more towards the flying angle. Storm Sphere is basically an ice version of Meteor. Animate Objects is really good for stealing things. What? Did my precious treasure just get up and walk out of here? Why, yes it did. Telekinesis, also with Animate Objects, means you can basically move anything. If an enemy's standing on something, you can move the thing they're standing on. Arcane Gate is really good for getting away, and Arcane Gate, Animate Object, Telekinesis, or Dimension Door can be used with Sorcerer points. Distant Spell. So you can distant Dimension Door yourself or distant Telekinesis something, or you can combine things. You can use a 6th level Arcane Gate, then you can stick your hand through the gate. That way you can use Dimension Door and use all of your Sorcerer points, 12 points, and for every single point you can double the distance. And the sorcery meta magics that I chose for this class are Distant, Extended, and Subtle. So you can either cast something without somatic or verbal components. You can cast something of a 1 minute or more. For 1 sorcery point, you can double it, and that's to a max of 24 hours. And with distance, you can spend 1 point to make something double range, or 1 point to make touch 30 feet. So if you do Shocking Grasp, which is a touch spell, you can just use 1 single distant point to make Shocking Grasp not a touch spell. Or you have 12 sorcery points, so you can double the range 12 times. The Ranger spells have Detect Magic and Wild Cunning, and Disguise Self as a 1st level bonus for Gloomstalker. Wild Cunning is really good. It uses the spirits of nature to help. Wild Cunning can have the spirits of nature set up your camp for you, or they can have the spirits of nature tell you wherever the closest water is, or the closest animal. Wild Cunning is kind of commune with nature / invisible servant. It's a really cool spell. Then 2nd level, you have Beast Sense, Locate Object, Spike Growth, and then at 5th level of Ranger, you get another bonus, which is Rope Trick. And Rope Trick is perfect for hiding in any situation, and I do believe it can be used in midair, which is really cool. So those are the meta magics that are the most powerful. For a Storm Sorcerer at 1st level, before or after any 1st level or higher spell, you can fly 10 feet without provoking any hits. So at the beginning of your turn, you can use the flying before a 1st level spell to get out of combat. Then you can use that 1st level spell as an attack. At 6th level, you gain lightning / thunder resistance, and any spell that causes lightning or thunder damage gets a bonus. Every lightning or thunder spell causes creatures within 10 feet to take extra lightning or thunder damage. Now you can control the weather. You can stop rain within 20 feet, and you can end it with a bonus. So for an action, you can just stop the rain within 20 feet. And then for a bonus action, the rain can start again. That works really well with the bonfire stuff. And you can choose the direction of the wind within 100 feet of you, which is really good. And that's it for the Storm Sorcerer. Now for the Gloom Stalker. You can dash as a bonus with Fleet of Foot. I chose the favored enemy of beasts and the greater favored enemy of elementals. Rangers get Natural Explorer, so advantage on initiative against any who haven't attacked. And after 1 hour of travel, the group is not slowed by terrain and cannot be lost except by magical means. If you're traveling alone, however, you can move stealthy at a regular pace and remain alert even when you're occupied. You can find 2 times the food when you're foraging, and you know exact size, numbers, and timing of tracked creatures. So you know where they've gone, where they've come from, how many, and how long ago it's passed. I went with Close Quarters Shooter for the fighting style, and that means you can use range spells within 5 feet without disadvantage. Primeval Awareness lets you commune with beasts and be recognized as a kindred, but you can do just simple communications. You can read the basic mood and intent and emotions, or if the beast is affected by magic. And the last thing is the Ranger Conclave Gloom Stalker, which you get some bonus. You get Disguise Self and Rope Trick, and you also get a wisdom bonus to your initiative. And in the first round of combat, you get 10 feet of walk speed bonus, as well as 1 extra weapon attack. That attack, if it hits, does a 1d8 extra. That's only in the first round of combat. You get a dark vision of 60. That's 60 more than whatever your race has. You're also invisible in darkness to anything that relies on dark vision or sees through dark vision. And you're also proficient in wisdom saves. Overall, with the multi-class, this adds up to a level 16. Now you actually do the lists of the spells separately for Sorcerer and Ranger, and then the multi-class determines how many spell slots you have total. I have a fair amount of spells, so it's actually a pretty well-rounded out class. Shadiversity does pretty awesome videos, sometimes fantasy related, sometimes historical related. It's a good channel for learning lots of knowledge. The War Dart is a perfect in-between because you can use it as a spear, so you can throw it, and then immediately when someone gets in that in-between range of ranged attacks and close attacks, you have a spear that you can use as a melee weapon. So it's perfect for range and for close-up. Any single person can just keep a handful of them and just throw them. And if you use Druidcraft plus Enlarge, you can just Druidcraft an arrow, enlarge it, and there you go, you have a War Dart. This was a big influence for me because I realized that something like if Albedo from Overlord, if she had a War Dart and she could just throw them and then just drop them from such height, be like that scene in G.I. Joe. So this is Zeus from the G.I. Joe movie. It's an orbital station that drops, I think, tungsten rods from space. And when you drop something from space and it goes through orbit, it just gets insane speed going through the atmosphere. It's crazy. So that's basically a larger version of this. So that was just to help you get the idea of it, and now here we go. Even a small dart like that goes through metal. That's insane. This is a bank vault, and it just went through it like paper. That's the reason that I picked the flying race. I could have chosen anything. Originally, Genasi was a cool idea. The SorceRanger class can fit with anything, but I feel it has great synergy when you combine it with the Avariel, and I hope that you've enjoyed. See you in the next video.